Who remembers the BJ and Bill show all those years ago on WOLZ? Well, many have said they missed the show, and guess what? They're back. Welcome to the BJ and Bill podcast.
Welcome to BJ and Bill, the podcast, a part of the Podcast Playground Network. Please give us that 5-star review. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcast. And, of course, follow us on Facebook, BJ and Bill, the podcast. And always email us, BJ and Bill, the podcast, as we welcome you. Oh, I should say BJ and Bill, the podcast at gmail.com. I forgot the important part there.
That's the important part.
Yeah. But now I can
it's
welcome
not going
people
anywhere. Yeah. Without the Gmail. Okay.
I can welcome them to episode 131.
131.
It's awesome. More than 2.5 years, my friends.
Insane.
A little bit long. Look, just give us another year. Probably we'll go longer than the BJ and Bill show did on Oldies 95. I think I don't know how long we were there though. 3, 4 years, maybe 5.
I don't think it was 5, but 3. Yeah, wow. Now you have my brain spinning. Wow. I don't know that I could figure that out. It might be on a resume somewhere, although I've probably fudged on resumes before. So I don't know if it would be 100% authentic. But yeah, wow, what an interesting. Well, we know exactly when it ended, don't we?
Actually, today is a Monday. Yesterday was Sunday, which was the 9th day of March.
Yes.
So really, no. So it would not have ended yesterday. It would have ended today because it was the day after the surgery. I woke up about 8 o'clock in the morning after having a brand new heart and said, I'm going to call my morning show partner, Bill, and let him know we got a heart. And that's when we celebrated, you and I, on WOLZ Oldies 95 in Fort Myers, Florida. I got a new heart. And then moments later, Bill was escorted into, well, was it the
I wasn't escorted
office?
into that. No, I was not escorted into the boss's office. He stormed into the studio. I mean, hair on fire, stormed into the studio. Do not put him on the air.
Say, hey, you should have told me that before, brainchild.
I'm like, WTF. Even though WTF wasn't a thing back then, I was still thinking, WTF. What the frack? I mean,
yes.
Why wouldn't you put your favorite guy on the radio? Yeah, well, they had other ideas, didn't they? No,
yeah, man. They were going in another freaking direction.
In my mind, still to this day, and I mean, I've seen light beer brands make colossal marketing mistakes, shall we just say. I have seen some of the worst marketing mistakes in my life, and it's something I follow and I watch and I pay attention to just because I'm interested. Maybe the worst marketing decision in the history of radio. Oh, here's this guy beloved by people all over Southwest Florida who had a heart transplant and is now alive and well and happy. No, we don't want him back on the radio. No, we don't want him back. It boggles the brain, boggles my mind to this day how you make that decision. But what do I know?
It gives us a good story.
Oh my God, one of the best. and somebody's actually finally 20 years later writing a book about it. Good for him.
So yeah, it was 22 years ago today.
Wow.
Bill got that great call, put it right on the air on Oldies 95.
Of course I did.
And just moments after hanging up the phone, gets berated by the boss.
Yeah. Unbelievable. You
know, I don't ever want to speak ill of anyone, but I'm still here. You're still here.
Thank you.
The two people that made this decision, unfortunately, and I say this with all respect, are no longer here.
And we don't mean they're no longer in the business. They're out
no
of
longer.
the business of life.
Yes. So it's a sad
permanently
thing.
Retired.
Yeah, permanently.
You're
at
right.
least,
We shouldn't. I'm sorry. We shouldn't laugh about
at
that.
least we have this podcast.
Yes.
What's
Yes.
wrong with my face, man? I don't know if it's my. Let me turn another light on. I just look at that. I look like all red and all. I don't know what.
Yeah,
it
you do
is.
kind of have a little redness going down there on your cheeks, but
Maybe
what's up with that?
because let me turn this. Does
Oh,
that
he
help
turns the
any?
bright light on. Yeah, I
Not
mean, that's a
really.
little better, but I don't care. I mean, it's just you and me looking at each other on the Zoom call here, so that's not
I
important.
was looking at myself and I go, it might have been 22 years ago. We had that, wonderful call on the radio. But damn, I look a whole hell of a lot older than I did 22 years ago. It's
Well,
disgusting.
It's been 22 years. What do you expect? I think we all look a little older 22 years later. Good gosh.
Okay, you might look a little older,
Yes.
but I look like grandpa. The guy that's like got one foot in the grave and just barely hanging on and going, oh, hello there, Mr. Bill. How you doing today?
Uh-huh. I hear you.
Let me go get my mail.
Right. Long walk to the post to the mailbox out of the street corner.
Yeah,
Yes, compared to somebody who plays pickleball 3 times a week and tries to eat nicely and properly. Yes, trying to
I
take care of
kind of
myself.
do. I've given up. I put my hands up. There's no keeping this body in shape. It's got too many cuts, too many slices,
I
too
hear
many
you.
parts missing. It's like, oh my God, I'm waking up another day. Thank goodness.
That's all. That's good enough. Really, it honestly is. I mean, be grateful and be thankful every morning. And for BJ Odom to be getting out of bed 22 years after a heart transplant, he's fine. You don't owe nobody nothing.
And now kind of like remember as you can then. So the conversation ended and so that would have been the program director, not the general manager that came
That's correct.
that came storming in.
Yes.
Now, when did you actually get your walking papers? Immediately following that day?
No.
Or was it at the end of the week?
It was probably, well, I mean, that's a good question because I think I actually went for another week or so, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But it was not immediately. I know that for a fact. So I think it might have been another week.
I think
or
at the
maybe
end
the end of that week. If it
I think
happened
that's what it was.
If you called
the
on
end
a
of
Monday, it might have been like on the Friday.
And I don't even know if I called on a Monday. I mean, yeah, today's a Monday.
Yeah, we'd have to look up what day that was. But whatever day it was, it probably wasn't until, because I think they still had to make some changes behind the scenes and all of that sort of thing. So it wasn't immediately. It wasn't. That's for sure. I think it was at least a week, maybe 2.
No, I think it was only a week because I don't even. Well, I guess I was in the hospital a couple weeks, but I know I wasn't even out of the hospital yet when they had made the decision. And when I got the news, because I remember I called the news, I was a little poop head. I called the newspaper. I called the TV station.
I would
called
have
them
absolutely.
all.
I absolutely, like I said, worst marketing decision ever. They could have had a huge comeback. They could have gotten more media coverage out of that. TV, newspaper, back when newspapers were a thing, that would have been front page news. Popular disc jockey returns after heart transplant. That would have been front page news.
It was front page news.
Yeah, it was front page news, all right. Not the kind that they wanted. Oh my God. I mean, I can't. Well, and you and I both know, and anybody who has ever worked in radio knows that pretty much you're only as good as your last ratings and whatever, or you're only as good as your general manager or program director thinks you are, and they're ready to change. Well, again, that was 20 years ago, and nowadays it's a completely different business. So I don't know. It just seems to me like you and I could have been doing that job for 10 years more after you had your transplant and came back.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Easily could have done that job for another 10 years. But of course, everything changes and whatever. So yeah, I hear you.
Isn't there a song about that? Everything changes.
Everything change. Oh yeah, there's plenty of songs about that. Absolutely. Good God. So, but Yeah, I sometimes my head spins when I think about all the possibilities that might have been had they not made the decision they made. It would have, I know my life would have been 100% different, 1,000% different.
And we know iHeartRadio, does these things where like they were just it was the point where they were like finding great morning shows
Right,
and putting them on like every radio station practically Clear Channel owned at the time, which is
right.
now iHeart Media.
Yes,
And they were in talks with BJ and Bill about, voice tracking other markets. I remember these conversations.
right,
They weren't, they were like right around the same time everything fell apart where I found out I was going to need a heart transplant. Then of course we get another program director. That's always the kiss of death. New program director walks in
right,
who has friends in other markets that, hey, they could use a job. I could give them a couple jobs.
right.
That was part of the
Yeah,
mess too.
yeah. That I mean, and everybody who's listening to this show who doesn't know BJ and Bill from that long ago are thinking, "What the hell are you talking about?" Because obviously now the radio business is nothing like it was back when BJ and Bill were on the radio. It's just a totally different animal, and I don't think it's a good thing. But that's it. Nobody pays me for my opinion on that anymore, so it's
Nobody
okay.
pays me for my opinions
No,
anymore. Either.
it's the heck with it. So
They
anyway,
haven't
there you
asked for my opinion in God knows how many years.
go. Maybe 22 years.
No, I remember the last radio station that I worked at. I got along real good with the program director,
Right.
and he would ask me every now and again things I thought about, in my opinions,
Sure.
because
I mean, we've been around. We've been in the business forever. It's like you would think that there might be some experience you could tap into, but
Yeah.
and
and
whatever.
when you're as old as dirt, there's got to be some experience somewhere to tap into.
Son,
Speaking
when
of
I
dirt,
when I was born, the Dead Sea Scrolls were still sick. Yeah, it's old jokes, old people. Speaking
well,
of-
it's time to take a little break, my friend.
okay.
And then we will come right back, and who knows what we'll talk about. Not a whole lot of sports going on, but basketball's getting excited because we're in the final road. Maybe we'll talk a little basketball. All
Okay.
coming up next. Welcome back. It's BJ and Bill, the podcast. Well, we got done, with the 22-year anniversary of what went down with the BJ and Bill show.
Right.
What's new on the horizon for the BJ and Bill show? I don't know. What's on the horizon?
Is that even a thing? I don't think
I
it's
don't
a thing.
know.
I don't know.
It's-
Anything's possible. I think maybe we should. Maybe the pendulum is swinging back in the other direction. Maybe we should start reaching out to some, radio stations and say, "Hey, if you need a show, here's two guys that are still doing what they're doing after 25 years." That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
For those of you that have been in Southwest Florida for a long, long time,
Right.
like Bill and I, when I first came to town, when I first went to Fort Myers, because I originally went to Naples to work at a radio station, but when I first went to Wink AM had Frank Nodine, or I think that was his name, who was one of the original anchors for the Wink Nightly News.
Man, that's a name I have never heard before. So wow,
Yeah.
you're pulling
And
that
he
one out
was
of dinner.
and he was doing mornings on Wink AM.
So he did
and
the
he-
morning radio show and the evening TV
No.
news.
That's
Oh.
where he was known from.
Oh, okay.
He was like one of the original anchors on the 6 o'clock news on Wink.
Wow.
But, he had since then been replaced by, newer, younger, blonder anchors.
Right.
So
Right.
he was on Wink AM. And, that was like, his final days in the business. But I think, of course, I was a young whippersnapper back then. I was
Right.
probably in my 30s. And so to me, he was like 90 years old, but he was probably only, 65, maybe, I don't know, 60. I don't know. my age or younger, maybe. I don't know.
Our
Somewhere
age or
around,
younger.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yes,
somewhere
absolutely.
around then. And I thought then, oh my God, what's this guy still doing on the radio? But he was a Fort Myers legend because, like I said, he was one of the
Right.
original anchors for Wink
Right.
News. That's the
That's,
television station, Wink News.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
Wow.
so
That's
yeah,
crazy.
and I remember that he finally kind of got pushed out the door. I think after so many years, and so
Yeah, it's
we just got pushed
that's
a
the
little
fate of
early.
almost everybody in radio and TV. Almost. Some people do last. Very, very, very few. Very few.
Yeah,
My old buddy Kent Jones, who we've mentioned on this show a few times, college roommate and radio buddy, he did 20 years at KOMA in Kansas City. He was, morning show guy there 20 years. And he retired. And I thought he was done, and now I think he's doing some small time radio where he and his spouse retired up in the Northwest somewhere. So can't keep a good
now
man down.
Mason Dixon, who was
Right?
at Q105 for years and years and years. Then they made some changes and he went away and then he came back and he was kind of
Right.
like BJ and Bill, jumped around. And finally, Q105, came back to, its original roots, kind of being, like a, a classic hit station.
Right.
And so he came back, but he's since been retired. But now I'm pretty sure he still does a classic hits like weekend syndicated show.
Wow.
But he
That's
was like a
crazy.
legend in the Tampa Bay area. I mean, if you were ever lived in Tampa Bay, you knew the name of Mason
Oh
Dixon.
yeah. Mason Dixon. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't obviously that's time has come and gone. I don't feel like the need to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning anymore. So I'm good with that.
Hey, speaking of waking up,
Uh-oh.
oh, I hate, and here in Florida, we went to the polls. I don't know how many years ago it was.
Well, it was
And
November.
well, no, it wasn't this last November. It was
Oh,
it was a November before that.
okay.
Floridians voted to niche the time change.
That would be Nick's, but yes, the time. Oh yeah. Daylight savings time. Yes.
We went to the polls.
Yeah, we approved it.
We approved it. We voted. We still
Don't
are
have it.
switching times.
I know. Stupid. Stupid.
Why do we vote?
Oh, don't get me started on that, but I hear you. Yeah, but to me, and I don't know how this works. There are some states that don't do it, like Arizona didn't change times, and parts of Indiana, right? You used to, that was your old town,
I
right?
think, yeah, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I think, yeah, they don't change. I know.
Yeah,
I think,
I don't,
I don't
but
know.
I know for a fact that Arizona does not, and I don't know if they're alone in that. But anyway, as I lived there, the question is, do you keep it on daylight savings time or do you keep it on regular time? If you were going to choose which hour to stick with, what would you do? And I guess you would stick with the one we're at now, right? So you keep more sunshine. Does that?
But the one that kills me, but if we ever got used to one,
Would be
I always enjoyed when I didn't like springing forward. That's where you lose an hour overnight.
right.
Because when you are a morning person doing morning radio, and you have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, all of a sudden this one magical Monday comes along and it ain't 4 o'clock in the morning in your brain. It's 3 o'clock in the morning and your body says,
What's up with this? Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what my body was saying today and yesterday when I had to wake up going,
I was driving around town yesterday doing a little shopping and is today Saturday or Sunday? Is today Saturday or Sunday? And I'm like, that can't be caused by the time change. I think I just had an old fart moment. But yes, I hear you. And so again, I think we should keep it like it is now. We should just keep it now, like sunshine, more sunshine, and just do it. Just what's the big deal? Why is this a problem? There's no reason to change it, to go back.
no kidding.
Maybe now that we've done it, maybe come fall when we would normally fall back, maybe we just say we ain't falling no more.
Because the doctor asks me every time I go in, have you fallen in the last 30 days? I'll say, yeah, I sprung forward in like an hour. I didn't fall, I sprung forward.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, we should start a campaign for that. I thought I saw something from one of our senators, from Rick Scott, on Twitter.
Yeah, he wants to. Well, yeah, he came from the state that voted for it.
Yeah, well, of course, he's one of our senators. So yeah, I think I saw that. So, but you're right. We should put our collective foot down and say we're not going back.
Yeah, that would be it. You can go back if you want to, but we're not going back.
We're not going back. And
I still think though, if you're younger and you do have a job and your boss says, hey, you need to get here at 8:00.
Yeah,
the new time. You better get your butt in gear.
But if the whole state changed, then no, we're staying.
Yeah,
So I think we should do that. I think you're right. That makes more sense to me. I don't understand, especially in Florida, where, gee, if we had another hour, we could keep people on the beach longer. We could keep people on the golf courses longer. We keep people in the amusement parks longer and make more money. Sorry, just got a little rant there.
Yes, you did. But yeah, like I said, I'm
okay.
And actually, if you went with majority rules,
oh yeah, well,
we should be smoking pot now here in Florida. But
right.
now
we
didn't get the 60% rule. We only got 57%.
Yeah.
Well, 57% is the majority, and we should be able to light one up now and again, or at least eat a gummy bear.
You can eat as many gummies as you want. You can. There's no rule about that.
Yeah, but you got to pay extra for it.
Yeah, I hear you.
Get a doctor's note. That's not even one of those probably things. A real doctor.
Yes.
Yeah. We can do it medically, but we can't do it recreationally.
Yeah. just gotta know somebody. That's all.
So like I said,
yes.
My original thought, why do we vote? It don't mean squat.
You don't want to start the whole politics thing. Not today.
I'm not starting politics. I'm starting voting.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought they were related, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not. So anyway, I'd much rather talk about my Cleveland Cavaliers. You mentioned basketball before the break. You mentioned the sports. You're right. Baseball is just getting started. Spring training is underway. But my Cleveland Cavaliers continue to just number one team in the NBA. I watched them last night beat Milwaukee. Some guy posted on Twitter, on X. He said, why aren't you people making money the way I'm making money on this? He says, because if you watch the games, they have the money line betting, which is how much you have to bet to make X number of dollars back, depending on a win or a loss. There's no point spread. There's no nothing. It's just money line. And it changes during the game. It's updated minute by minute. He says, you just wait for the Cleveland Cavaliers game. You wait until they get down 10 points, because they always do. And then you make your bet on the Cavs. And then you watch the Cavs come back and you make a boatload of money. He goes, why aren't people doing this? He says, I'm making a fortune on this. And
That's like day trading.
I'm scratching my head going, wait a minute. He's right. Not that I would condone gambling, but of course it is legal in the state of Florida. So I might just have to look into that.
Now, I'm not as excited as you with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Well, of course not.
Because they're having what have they lost? 10 this season?
Yes, 10. Totally 10. Yeah, they're on their next teen winning streak. Last night was their 14th in a row win. They'll just reel off 10, 12, 14 games in a row, and then they lose one. Okay, fine. Then it's another 10, 12, 14
but you know who they lost to last?
The
Celtics,
I do
wasn't
not.
It?
Huh?
I think they lost to the Celtics, the last loss they had.
I think so. Wasn't the last. Well, it might have been, because then they came around again and they beat the Celtics last week. So I don't know, but it's been 14 games. So who keeps track? When there's only 10 losses in a season, who keeps track?
And what are we down to? About another, 10, 15 games in the rest of the season, actually, I think.
It's not much. It's not. Don't make me go to Google
But I will tell you this, since Jimmy Butler has come to the Warriors, at least I feel like I don't know. I wouldn't go and say we got it. Well, we always got a chance at the
You always got a
championship.
chance. You got play in.
But I don't see rings at the end of this. I don't see no
No.
bling
No.
for the Warriors, but I
No.
see if they can stay in this number 6 slot, they might make a halfway decent run.
And same with the Lakers, of course, and except now with LeBron being out for a week with a little ankle sprain or something. I saw that
They
happen.
said it could
I
be
watched
2
that
weeks.
game the other night. And so the Lakers were on like an 8-game streak as well, I think. Well, ever since the trade for Luka, they picked up Luka Doncic and they won them all since then. And then they lost the other night. Yeah, after LeBron went down. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
And actually, the Warriors aren't even completely healthy right now. They've got 2 key players that are out.
Yeah.
And they've still won 9 out of the last 10.
There you go. So I don't see them making any big noise in the West, but hey, anything. The West is kind of anyway this year. They're nothing fancy. I mean, well, who's the number 1 team in the West? Minnesota, the Grizzlies or something like that?
Yeah. No, I think it's Oklahoma.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Oklahoma. Yeah, of course. So yeah. Oh, Alexa, stop. Alexa was trying to remind me of something there. I don't know what.
What is she trying to remind you that?
I don't know. I told her to shut up.
That wasn't very nice. You're lucky she's not a wife. You'd be on the floor right now.
I'd be in trouble. Right now, I'm having a major. This is a whole nother subject, but I'm just having a major beef with Zoom, with the people that give us this service, that provide us this service. We're paying for it. That I don't know about you, but I'm getting emails almost every day for invitations to Zoom calls that I have not signed up for. And that it's driving me nuts. And I know that it's this internet marketing thing, because I'm on a lot of internet marketing list of people who do this as a business, sell stuff online. So I get it. I follow a couple of gurus who do Zoom calls. I'm doing one tonight. But I'm getting like slammed into these meetings, invited to these meetings that I have no idea who this is or why I'm getting this. And I've been going back and forth with the Zoom tech support team. And all they're doing is, we're looking into it. Oh, we're looking into it. And I'm like, all right, screw you guys. I know you don't care. But anyway, shout out to Zoom. Get your act together.
That's a problem I don't have. So
no, you don't. No.
I'm happy with that at least.
I'm on like 100 different mailing lists of people for all kinds of the latest and greatest way to edit videos or do AI or all kinds of stuff. It's just crazy, but I get it.
I don't know what it is though, but I have been, and when I talk to people my age about this, they're all like, yeah, sometimes you're too hip for your age.
Right.
And so I talk to friends my age about all of my experiences and how I'm enjoying this little thing called AI. And they'll go, no. Yeah. I'm not going to, I'm not going to touch that. That's the end of the world. No.
That's the end of the world. That's the devil.
Someday AI will come and kill you in the middle of the night when you're sleeping.
I don't think it quite works that way, but even Elon has said we need to be very careful with it so it does not take over the world, kind of a thing. I get it. I do. We're a little ways away from that, but the what it can do is pretty doggone amazing. And yet then again, I was calling some apartment office the other day, and you got to go through their AI little chat bot. It doesn't know jack. It's like, I end up talking to a human and I'm like, oh, a human, I'm so glad to talk to you. And they're like, yeah, we get that a lot. So, all right, I understand. Yeah, we're sending robots to Mars, but we can't make it so somebody can answer the phone. I got it. I understand.
Because I shouldn't give this away, but I've already told my wife, and I think I even mentioned it on the post. I saw some guy write a nice, sweet, thing about, actually, it was a woman that was posting something sweet about a husband. Like, this is my husband, and it was something you could tell they copied and they pasted, and it wasn't even their story or their little love poem or whatever.
Right.
I said, that's kind of sweet. You know what? Went over to Mr. AI and said, hey, let's write this little post about how caring and devoted my wife is and how she's taken care of me through thick and thin. And I gave it, some talking points.
Sure.
And it actually, it's the first time it threw out like almost a book, like 2 or 3 paragraphs. I said, no, I want to make this a Facebook post, shorten it.
Right.
And it shortened it. And then I said, no, still too long. Shorten it again.
Right.
Shortened it again. I go, oh my God, this is so good. When I post this, people are going to think I am a freaking genius. I am the most loving, caring husband in the entire world. And
Right.
bang, I posted that thing on Facebook, and it went ballistic. People were liking it. People were commenting, and people were saying that knew me go, what did you do this time, BJ?
Right. Because we know. Yeah.
Even my wife came to me. Okay, what'd you do? No, I just did something nice. I didn't do anything.
Even she was suspicious.
I know.
That's hilarious.
That's what you
awesome.
get. That's what you get for trying to do something caring and loving for your spouse. People immediately say, you did something wrong.
Well, I told you my story. I said that there's one of the ladies, there's a elderly couple lives around the apartment behind me here, and one of their kids was getting married, and she's the mother of the bride or mother of the groom needed a speech, needed to have a 5 minutes, 2 minutes something, so she could get up at the rehearsal dinner or wherever. However that works, I don't remember. And I said, what's your son's name? What's the daughter's name? What's the bride's name and everything? And I plugged that into AI and I said, I need a wedding toast for the mother of the groom. And it spit out 3, 4, 5 paragraphs, and it was beautiful, gorgeous. And I just gave it to her and I said, here, and she's reading it. She goes, oh my God, did you write this? How do you know? I'm like, no, I didn't write a word of it. I'm like, this is AI, and that's how damn good it is.
That's like for my Gift of Life podcast.
Right.
I get the details of, what we talk about, who I talk to, and, a little bit about their story. Not much, maybe a paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
Then I go, I want you to write a heartfelt, meaningful, loving, caring post about this or my show notes. And it always puts out something beautiful. And people must be reading that going, that J. Odom, he's one smart. I can't believe he wrote that about, even the people I probably interview, they're probably going, oh my God, this is right. It makes me want to cry. This is like so beautiful.
I knew BJ Odom back when he couldn't put 2 sentences together. How does he do this? Yes, that's the good part of AI. It can, if you do it right, it can really, really help you communicating, brainstorming ideas. Comes up with lists of things. I did that the other day. I was like, I'm working on this video project. I need a list of 10 ideas about what I can talk about this subject, and here's who I'm aiming it at. And it's just bam, 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 bam. And I'm like, oh my God, it would have taken me hours to do that.
Yeah.
It spits it out in seconds. I'm like,
you become a genius. That's like my son's doing all these, celebrity interviews on Backstage with Gentry Thomas.
Right.
He actually usually asks AI to give him 20 questions to ask because he's going to be interviewing such and such.
Sure.
And he does, like you and I, I'm just going to speak for myself, not Bill. But like we had someone, important or someone famous coming in to talk to BJ and Bill.
Sure.
I just winged it and said, I want it natural. I'm just going to ask questions and I want to be natural.
Yeah, no, I remember that for sure.
He does research. Like if he's going to interview one of these people, he does research. He does AI. He knows more about the guy than the guy that he's interviewing usually. And it's like,
and that's if you're doing a real interview, a good one, like for a podcast where you're going to be talking for an hour or something, you want some of those questions where the guy or the lady goes, ooh, I've never been asked that before.
Yeah.
That's gold. That's gold for you.
And I've even said that, listening to his podcast, I go, man, some of these questions are just ingenious. He goes, yeah.
Say,
he goes, I like to be prepared. I go, damn, I wish your dad would have been like that. I probably
it
really
would.
butchered
We
some
didn't have
interviews in my life.
we didn't have BJ and Bill intelligence back then. We let alone AI. We had none of that.
Well,
All
guess
right.
what? It's time for us to take another break, Bill.
It is. It is. Quick break. So we'll do that. Let's go refill your coffee or do whatever you have to do, and we will be right back. Welcome back. This is BJ and Bill, the podcast. So happy to have you here with us for episode number 131. And if you would like to, we would love to hear from you. Go and visit our Facebook page. Just do a quick search for BJ and Bill podcast. You have to put the "and" in there because that's, well, how we roll. And it works the same with the email address, bjandbillpodcast@gmail.com. Wherever you get your podcasts, we would really love it if you would like to leave a good 5-star review for us, wherever and however you receive your podcasts on your personal little device, whatever that is. For me, it's my iPhone that I listen to all the time when I'm out for a walk or a bike ride.
That's very good, Bill.
Yeah. Not going to be any bike riding today in North Central Florida. It's wet as heck out there. And you said it's still pouring rain in your neighborhood, or no?
I think it stopped pouring. I don't know if it's sprinkling or raining, but it looks like
Yeah.
there might be. It's a big might be like a little ray of sunshine trying to break through the clouds, but
not here.
not for
Not
sure.
here.
But man alive, but when we started, it was like a monsoon out there. Because I told you before we went on the air, usually because our trash comes on Monday, I
Right.
usually have like a little like Publix bag or something, a little grocery bag, that we throw the scraps in overnight and in the morning.
Right.
And I usually run it out to the mailbox. I went to the door, opened it up, and went, "Oh, I think I'll just leave that for next week."
Yeah. That's good thinking. I don't want to swim out to the driveway there and come back. I got you. No worries. So yeah, all good. All good.
I know there's HIPAA laws, and I don't even know if I should discuss this, but I had a very interesting call before we went on the air.
Oh, you were talking about that, and you didn't mention any names other than your family member there, and they're not involved, so you can pretty much say whatever you want.
Yeah, I have a relative type person that sells medical devices,
How convenient.
Yeah. He's just never had anything I needed, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
But there's a new stent or something, kind of like a bypass that you can do that's, very, it's kind of like a heart cath. And you can do a bypass if you have clogged, arteries in your legs that's causing you problems.
Okay.
Well, I just got done celebrating my 22nd anniversary for my heart. And he called me and said, I'm thinking about you. I'm on my way to, actually, he's coming to your city, Gainesville.
Right.
Going to the VA, there's a gentleman who needs this done, and he has a low infraction rate. I won't give the numbers, and he can't be listed for a heart transplant. He needs one, but can't be listed because of this problem he has in his leg. So they're hoping that this new device is going to be able to, it's invasive, but it's low key invasive, if that makes any sense. It's still dangerous, but it's not as dangerous as what a bypass surgery in the leg would normally entail.
Okay.
So
it's like a stent that would normally go in a coronary artery, but this goes in the leg to prevent clotting there, or is that?
Yeah, kind of like it, but it's a bypass to it. It goes in and out. It actually, the stent goes out of the artery, back into the artery, and he explained it to me, but it's pretty wild. And I'm not a medical person. I just get it. I usually receive them. I don't really understand half the things that I have going on in my body.
You're on the receiving end of all that hardware. Yeah.
But it sounded really, really cool.
Awesome. Cool.
So he wanted to talk to me, and, I said, and he said, I hope I get to meet the patient because, he's the rep. It's really weird though. The rep still has to be there when they insert whatever they're inserting. So he has to be there for the procedure.
I've heard that before. I had a computer client back in Southwest Florida that did that. It was a medical device salesperson, and it wasn't unusual for them to be in the operating room when their device was being installed into somebody because they knew it better than the doctor knew it. So if there were questions or if there was something, it's like, okay, the doctor's obviously going to do the cutting and the sewing and the whatever. But when it came to the actual hardware itself, they knew it better. That's so interesting to me that you would do. I mean, and those guys make a lot of money, right? I mean, I'm sure your family member there,
I don't
he
know,
does
but it
okay.
seems like, let's just say this. No, I'm not going to say. But I've been to his house.
Where does he live? Does he live in Florida?
He lives in Jacksonville.
Jackson. Oh, cool.
Yeah, and they live on a inlet canal.
Nice.
And he has a boat.
A boat.
And that's all I'll say.
Has he got a pool?
Yeah.
Yeah. On the canal. Yeah, of course. So in other words, he's doing okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's doing okay.
He's doing okay.
I'm proud of the boy. I'm proud of the boy. Let's just say that.
Good. I'm glad.
But when I had my loop recorder, a loop recorder is what they stick in your chest, and for some reason it can read. It's not a pacemaker, but it can tell you if your heart is racing, if it's got a weird beat. It monitors your heart. It's like wearing a heart monitor 24/7 for 5 years, because they said the batteries can last up to 5 years.
Wow.
So when they inserted that, and they did that in my room, because I remember when they came in, they said, "Okay, we're going to put your loop recorder in." I go, "Oh, we're going down to the operating, the OR. Cool. Oh no, we're going to do it right here." And I'm going, "What you talking about, Willis?"
Right?
I go, "Do I get to go out?" "Oh, no, we're not putting you out. We're going to give you a little numbing right here, and we're going to stick it in." I go, "Oh, that sounds like so much fun." It was really a very simple procedure.
Good.
But the rep was there while they did it.
See? There you go.
So it's the same type of deal.
Interesting. I mean, I couldn't do a job like that because, I'm not great with a lot of blood, but I'm not bad with it. It's not like I'm fainting or anything like that, but it's not my style. It's not my style.
I did say, I know there's HIPAA laws and everything else, but, let me know the outcome. And he goes, sometimes they just do the procedure and then I leave and, go back home or to the office or whatever. So he said, but he's going to try to keep because he's going to share my story with the doctor, obviously, too.
Sure.
And how I just celebrated 22 years out, and he's hopefully going to get to tell the patient that also, and to give him some encouragement. And so I'm kind of interesting as he follows along and the information he gets on this, because it's kind of cool.
I drive by the VA a couple of times a week. It's on my way over to my pickleball courts. So
and that's and he said it's across the street from Shands, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
They do a lot of heart transplants at Shands there.
Do they really? I didn't.
Yeah. They do a lot of everything there.
Yeah, they really, they are the biggest. It's interesting because we also have some HCA, Hospital Corporation. There's a couple of those in town, and they just opened a big one, a big facility down near me down here at the highway exit. But yeah, UF Health is, we own this town. We own a lot of Jacksonville. We own a lot of this town. We own a lot of the villages. UF Health runs it all.
Well, I've told you this on a earlier podcast, that here in Claremont, before you really get into Claremont, when you're going up 27 into Claremont,
right?
It used to be a CVS drugstore. They've completely remodeled it. And it's now a UF, like, urgent care or whatever.
Very cool.
But there's usually quite a few cars there, and it seems like but that's the first experience I've had with UF. Well, all my stuff is either Tampa General, and they're also affiliated then with not FGCU, but
no, FGCU, no, University of. Who's Tampa? Is Tampa affiliated with who?
USF.
UCF.
No, UCF, yeah.
UCF, USF, whatever. USF.
USF, yeah.
So anyway, us Gators, the Gators are everywhere. We're everywhere. You can't get rid of us. We're everywhere. So yeah, that's okay.
I almost wore my Gator.
I'm glad. So anyway,
I almost wore my Gator hat today, but I'm wearing moonshine hat.
You are wearing a moonshine hat. What's with that?
Smoky Mountain moonshine.
Right there, you go. So a little bit of news here for yours truly. I'm not leaving town, but I'm moving.
Oh, where are you
I'm getting
moving
a new
to?
apartment. I not that I don't love where I'm at. This is, you've seen my what you can see in the background here, which is almost nothing because of the glare. But there's it's funny because I'm coming up on 3 years, I think, here in Gainesville, maybe 2.5 or I don't, whatever. When I first wanted to move here, I looked at an apartment complex a little bit farther north, still in town. I mean, just it's the next highway exit north from here, from me. Actually, 2 exits north. And I loved it, but they didn't have anything available at the time. So I ended up here. And this is, I mean, it was second choice, but it was never second best. It's a nice place. I like it and all that. It's gotten a little expensive over the years. They continue to raise the rent, even though I'm not any different and I'm not changing anything. And I'm kind of like getting a little tired of that. So I went and I did a little shopping over the past couple of weeks. And actually, the place that I was first originally interested in said, "Yeah, we got places. Come on over." And I'm like, "Sweet, I will." So anyway, that's end of the month. End of the month, I'll be out of here, and I'll have a new. You won't notice any difference. Although I will. This new one has what they call a solarium, which is, rather than having a outdoor porch or patio, it's been closed in, kind of like in Florida, when they close in the Florida room.
Yeah.
So it makes another room, another indoor space. So that's going to be my dedicated office. So I will actually have a dedicated dining room and a dedicated office space. Yay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. So you'll get a report on that as things move along. But yeah, I got approved and all of that, and now I got to go sign papers and this. So that'll be this week. So that'll be fun.
Now, how far away will you be from the Electrify America?
From Electrify America. Well, actually, a little farther, I think, because the Electrify America is actually right here if you were on the highway, if you were on I-75, you'd be getting off at the exit that I get off at for my normal apartment, for my regular place now, my current place, I should say. And then in the future, I'll be, like I said, 2 exits, which is 5 miles. I mean, it's no big deal. But yeah, if you were coming to town to visit with your little electric car, that would be awesome. Now does yours have the Tesla connector to it or not?
No, mine has the whatever.
The Hyundai one.
Yeah, the Hyundai. It wasn't until 25, the new ones.
Right. Right. So I'm pretty sure that Electrify, because the Electrify America is in the parking lot of the Target and the, Publix and all that stuff, right off the highway. So I think that's the only one in town. I'm not 100% sure.
I think it is. That's why that's the one. It only shows one. So
right. And it's super convenient. And they just built a brand new First Watch. So you could plug in your car, go for a coffee, a bagel at First Watch, and come back and your car would be all charged up. It's right there within walking distance. So yeah, cool.
Or I could just go get a Publix sub and save a few
Or
dollars.
Publix or Target, or there's a Dairy Queen right there. I mean, there's that charging station is in what's called Butler Plaza, which is the biggest, giganticest shopping center in town, and it's got everything. Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Publix, and then all the restaurants, everything. You can't think of a restaurant that's not there, not a chain place. So yeah.
Okay, we're going to take our final break and be right back. And who knows what we'll be talking about when we come back.
Okay, BJ, you kind of set us up there for a little bit of a comeback. Did you have something in mind, or are you
Hell no.
or were you just blowing smoke?
I was just blowing smoke.
I thought so. No biggie. We're trying to be a little bit more mindful about the way we put our commercial breaks and stuff in here. So it's because I do that. I'll be listening to a podcast, and obviously this podcast was meant to be put on YouTube in its hour-long or 2-hour-long glory. and you'll be listening to it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and they'll be like mid word, and the commercials come on. And I'm like, are you even listening? Do you even care what this sounds like? Of course, that's an old radio guy like you and me, so we care about that sort of stuff. It still seems important to me. That's all I'm saying. So
Yeah.
anyway.
It seems to be it's just smoother because
Yes,
you're not
absolutely.
exactly sure, like, oh, should I do it here? No, yeah, oh, yeah, oh,
Right.
yeah, oh.
Right. And I've been thinking about that when I do. And do you do that with your other podcast, with your Gift for
No, but I'm
Life,
going
or
to
do you?
start.
And I'm going to start it with my other podcast, with the Practical Path, as well, with me and Miss Vicky. I told her about that last week, that BJ came up with this brilliant idea to actually do it like a radio show and say, we'll be right back. So yeah, there you go. All good. I love it. On the Practical Path, we started something last week. Have you, BJ Odom, ever been suggested, or did anybody ever suggest to you, maybe you want to write down what's going on with your life, do a little what they call keeping a journal? Have you ever done that?
No, I just talked to my therapist.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that would be your dog, your therapist would be, or your wife, your dog, your
Oh
son.
no, I
your
have a
whatever.
new therapist. It's my ghostwriter.
Oh, well, yeah. I wouldn't have thought to call her a therapist, but maybe so. That's a cool idea. But so anyway, on the Practical Path, we tried this thing where it's like we're going to try it for a week, and that was the last 2 weeks we've been doing it, where we just every day the homework is write something, write it down every day. It doesn't matter if it's a sentence or a paragraph or a page. Write something down every day. Just capture a thought. Or did you have a good day or a bad day? Or did somebody really cheese you off? Or did you do something amazing? It's been interesting. I did, for the week where we did it, I was really good about it, every day. And then the week came and went, and I'm like, okay, now I'm not in the habit yet. So I do it a little bit sometimes, but not every day. I'm just saying. It's something you might, think about. Who knows?
Let's talk about that.
Keeping a journal of and again, it's just what I have heard and what I've come to believe is that your brain is really good about your brain is a problem solving tool. Your brain is meant to solve problems. And I'm not just talking about changing a flat tire on a car. I'm talking about solving your problems in life. It's like, okay, do I do this? Do I get the new apartment? Do I not get the new apartment? Do I, go on this diet or that diet? Your brain is good at that. Your brain is not good, was not built in computer terms. Your brain's not built for keeping track of random information and memories and stuff like memories. Okay. But better to put them on paper, get them out of your head onto paper. And that way you kind of like clear up the bandwidth. Like when your computer has, like when you have 17 programs running at the same time and you're wondering, why is my computer going so slow? Your brain is the same. Your brain only has so much bandwidth to work with. And then if you can clear up some space, like close all those browser tabs, your brain will work better. And I get it. I didn't think I'd like it as much. And it turns out I'm like, okay, I see the use here. I see the purpose of this. It looks interesting. I'll do some more. It's okay. So anyway, it's just a way of clearing out your head, and let your brain have room to think, if that's what you need.
Yeah, writing this book, and since it's about my health and my transplants in a way,
Right?
that's the majority of the book.
Sure.
And then, of course, working with the ghostwriter and her asking me questions and me reflecting and talking about this, it's all kind of come full circle. I'm like, wow, these two are like almost mending, like almost sewing together away. And it's very therapeutic.
Therapeutic. That's good. Did you think you had, or are you finding that you had things that you needed to sort out, or that were, I don't know, because obviously I've not been through the same situation as you. But I mean, did you have stuff that needed in the journaling world, we in the spiritual world, we call that kind of processing. I'm processing this idea. I'm processing this feeling or
I
whatever.
would
Did
say
you
that's
have stuff that you think needed work, needed processing?
well, let's just say this. I didn't think I had things that needed to be
Well, no.
processed and
Nobody ever
worked out.
does. Nobody ever
But
does.
now that I'm doing the process of
Right.
writing the book and doing, because the podcast is The Gift of Life, the organ transplant podcast, has opened me up to so much more because I've told you everybody's story is different
Sure.
and mine is different. But hearing some of these stories and hearing the way some people fought through and how, some religion helped them through, some being world class athletes helped them through. They all have different ways of coping. And then I think about how I coped. And I don't know, it just all seems to okay, it all bridges together and it makes sense. It kind of made sense before, but now I must say it makes more sense, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
No, it does. So my question for you, when you mentioned for some people, it's their religious faith or whatever, what was it that helped and supported you the most? I'm guessing it was your family, your wife and
Yes.
your kids and all that. So yeah, probably, right?
Well, also learning, and I've talked to some other people to do research on this book,
Right.
some people that knew me early in life, because I've said it many times, my parents were told I'd live to see my mid-teens.
Right.
So I tried to find some people older than me, but knew my parents and their parents knew my parents.
There's nobody older than you. Come on.
Well, there is a few, but yeah, it's hard to believe, but yes, there are. But tried to know, because I knew they were young too, though.
Right.
If any of them got the sense from my parents about how they coped with it, how they felt about it, because obviously they sheltered me from it.
Right.
And I talked to my sister-in-law, and my brother's gone, but they've been together since high school.
Right.
And she thinks he was kind of sheltered from that part of it too, to know
Your
that
brother was.
he knew I was sick,
Oh,
but I don't think they ever harped at him. Well, he might only live another few years. So
really?
yeah, I just the way she remembers it. But the one guy I talked to that was real close to my family and his parents were real close to mine says, I remember your mother telling my mother that I don't care what it takes, what we have to do, how much money we have to spend, we're not going to let him die. We're going to keep him
Oh,
alive.
that's good. That's
And
good.
he said, I think that her almost willing for you to live, she injected that into you.
Your mother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That this isn't going to stop me. I'm going to battle through and I'm going to live through this. And he goes,
Sure.
I really think she gave you that meaning of life that you are going to fight tooth and nail to hang on to it.
Will to
And he
live.
goes, that will to live. And he goes, I think that's what got you through it. Your mother's teaching you the will to live through it. And I never really knew about all that until I talked to him. So
Wow. So
pretty heavy.
that's a good piece of the puzzle there then, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So like I said, it's kind of like therapy.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Yes. I'm still waiting for my phone call to, have my chapter in the book, but it's
You know
okay.
what I'm thinking, and tell me I could be wrong. I'm going to talk to her about this.
I don't.
But I'm going to ask her to come on our podcast
I think that would be awesome.
and see if she has any questions for Bill, and maybe I'll have her question my wife. I don't want to mess up her process.
Right.
She has a process, and she has,
Of course.
and she's the writer.
Of course.
But I think I was going to suggest that to her. Would you like to go on the podcast with Bill
I think
and
that'd be great. Yeah, that would be.
The guy's
just
only
in
known me
case
for
there were
25
any little
years.
holes that needed filling in or something like that. Sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We've opened a can of worms. It's not even worms. We've opened a good can of juicy stuff here that we probably should have been talking about an hour ago, but we just finally got around to it in the last 15 minutes of the show. But that is interesting. I'd like to dig into that more. I think that's interesting stuff, and Obviously, we have many more shows to go, so it's not like it's not like we'll run out of time, but we have run out of time for this week. Look at that. So that's awesome. That's awesome. So anyway, this is your new therapy, is talking to your ghostwriter about the book. I love that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it would be, I'm going to talk to her, but I think it'd be fun to have her on just to
Absolutely.
get her
Absolutely.
view of where we are so far.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
So I go, this is going to be the most boring book I've ever written. No, she seems to be really excited about it. And I don't know if she's just doing that for me or she's going, I might be helping this guy, but I might be writing a really hot selling book.
Well, I mean, have you seen, and again, here we go going down another rabbit hole and we're done with the show, but have you seen or any of her other, has she showed you any of her other books that she has written? Or I'd be curious.
I mean, she's got one out now, kind of like, I don't want to go out and say what it is because I don't really know for sure, but it's kind of like a self-help fantasy type, being the princess.
Oh, Disney princess.
Yeah. I forget what the name of it.
See,
yeah, I should know this, but I don't have any notes
okay
or anything. And so I don't
find
know.
If you can, again, this is just Bill's curiosity. You can, maybe it's something we could talk about on the show, maybe not. I'm just curious. See if she can give you a few of her other books, and I can look them up on Amazon. I could probably just look them up by her name, but I don't know it off the top of my head. But anyway, I'd be curious to see what other projects she has collaborated on. And that might, but yes, I mean, just off the top of my head, I would think if you're a ghostwriter, probably most of what you're dealing with is probably people who think they have a story or who think their life has been amazing. And it's really just a vanity project where it's like, okay, they'd like a book about themselves or whatever. But I agree with her in that this story, the BJ Odom story, is there's real meat to it. There's a real story there. And yes, so I can understand her interest in that.
Yeah.
So,
she's written a little bit. I mean, she's a motivational speaker.
Right.
She has donated a liver to her sister.
Wow.
And that's where, we first met.
Right.
She has written books. She has also written, she's written her whole life. Like, let's say you have a big company,
right.
You need manuals for things.
Right.
She's written manuals.
That's a lot of those people. A lot of writers do that kind of work. Yes.
Yeah. So she's written books.
Cool.
And so yeah, she's written a little bit of everything.
Set it up. Get her on the show. I think that'd be awesome.
Sounds good.
All good. Except now we got to run. So okay. Well, once again, the hour's come and gone quickly, and we appreciate you all being with us. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Remember the 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Get in touch on the Facebook page, BJ and Bill on Facebook, BJ and Bill podcast, I should say. Just do a search for it there, and you'll find us. And we'll see you again next week. And until then, just up to BJ Odom to say,
Hey ya!